Albania is destroying Islam. A significant shift in religious demographics is occurring in Albania and Kosovo, with implications for the historically Muslim majority region. Albania's recent census revealed that Muslims now comprise of only 45.7% of the population, marking the first time in over 2 centuries that they are not the majority. Simultaneously, the number of non religious individuals and Orthodox Christians has increased. Meanwhile, over in Kosovo, a controversial movement called the called the Movement for the Abandonment of the Islamic Faith has emerged, aiming to counter religious extremism. The founder, Vesel Lekaj, I don't know how to pronounce this, stated that their goal is to combat, quote, extreme and political Islam, but also Serbian Orthodox extremism. This movement, with its slogan, Let's Just Be Albanians, has as the true national identity, reflecting a complex interplay between religious and national identities within the region. These developments highlight a growing trend of secularization and reevaluations of religious identity among ethnic Albanians. So, two things. This is the first time in, I believe, over 2 centuries that Albania is now Muslim minority. And the second thing is, while I was researching this, I found out about this other movement of ex-Muslims in Kosovo, which I know is a separate country, but it's like 93% ethnically Albanian, and their kind of motto is about Albanianism and stuff. So I thought it would be kind of cool to touch on both of those. Um, so I have more kind of background that I can get into, but Armin, give me your first reactions. You're muted.
This actually confirms something I have been saying a lot on this channel, because people say when you take away religion, what is left? What can you have to provide an alternative? And I always say we already have an alternative, because for a time when I came out of religion, I always felt that I believed in radical individualism. Then, as I become more experienced, I realized that individualism is good, but when it comes to humans are social animals, and we have an individual identity, but we also have collective identities. Collectivism is bad when it comes to judging people, but collectivism is required when you're trying to do teamworks, and also we have collective identities that give makes us feel that we're part of a something bigger than ourselves that we're working towards. And religion provides that feeling to you. And religion does a very bad job at it, but without religion, what is the alternative? And people said that we have to come up with an alternative, but we don't need to come up with an alternative, because we already have came up with an alternative, a much more useful alternative, which is civic nationalism. Ever since what we created the concept of a nation state, we also created the concept of civic nationalism. And it does all the things that religion does when it comes to providing a sense of identity, a group identity, providing you a sense of purpose, providing you a sense of belonging to something bigger than yourself, providing you a sense of working towards something that would live beyond you. It satisfies all those desires, all of those desires. And when I'm reading this all confirms that what I was saying is true. So there are now increasing efforts by some Albanians to distance themselves from Islam and assert a more secular, nationalist Albanian identity, right? So you don't need, we already have that nationalist Albanian identity. You don't need other religions. You don't need to replace Islam with Christianity. You don't need to replace Islam with some atheist religion. Nationalism works here. Nationalist Albanian identity. This includes a new movement in neighboring Kosovo that calls on Muslims to abandon Islam, viewing it as incompatible with Albanian nationalism. This is amazing. This is now the second country that I'm seeing that this is working in large numbers. Because when I said that this works, this will work, people will think that we have anecdotal evidence. But we always refer them to Iran. The reason why it's so easy for Iranians to come out of Islam and accept a post-Islam life is because people hold on to Islam not because it rationally makes sense. People hold on to Islam because it serves two purposes. It works as their identity card, right? And it also works as their membership card. A lot of atheists don't understand this. Many atheists, because they have chosen to be atheists, because they thought that their religious beliefs was incompatible with reality. And many atheists, they think that the way to promote people coming out of Islam or other religions is to show religious people that their beliefs are incompatible with reality. But that's a misunderstanding. They think people's beliefs are a tool for them to recognize reality, to identify what is real. But that's not the utility of religion. That's why, debates and talking that works with other religious people who are actually very concerned about their beliefs matching reality. It works on some religious people, but most religious people, that's not why they are religious. Their religion is their membership into a community. Their religion is their identity. This is like who I am. So if you take Islam away from them, it's not like, oh, here's what is real. They don't care. Like, they don't actually care what is real. You took away my identity. You took away my community. So how do you fight Islam? Is with a different identity. You cannot fight Islam with just rationalism. You fight Islam with an identity. You fight Islam with membership. You have to provide them with a different membership card and a different identity, not just rationalism. And it's working. It has worked in Iran. The reason why it works so well in Iran is because Iranians have a very strong sense of nationalism, and that's why getting rid of Islam has been so effective, because people don't feel like they're in a vacuum. If you take Islam away from Muslims in Iran, they already have an alternative strong Iranian identity, so they don't feel the gap. They don't feel like there's an empty space in their heart that they need to fill with something else. It's already filled with thousands of years of deep-rooted identity within that society. And now we have Albania. Guys, if you also see examples of this, like people feel like, oh, Armin, you're wrong. This ideological battle is not going to work. If you want to fight Islam, you have to fight Muslims as well. You could see a Muslim majority country. The second, so Iran was a Muslim majority country. Iran is now a Muslim minority country, purely only through ideological battle, not by kicking out Muslims, not through an ideological battle has turned Iran from a Muslim majority country to a Muslim minority country. And now we're seeing it work in another former Muslim majority country. It's working here as well. So this can be done. And if it can be done with countries that were already Muslim, then it can also be done with countries that Muslim Islam is rising. Like, if this is hope for Iran, they used to be Muslim majority, then for UK, France, and Germany, who's not even close to being Muslim majority, that methodology should be copied in those countries as well. You should go target the next generation of these people. It's important for you to promote nationalism. It's important for you to promote a sense of being a UK citizen, being British, the
Mm-hmm.
British identity, the French identity, the Canadian identity, the American identity. Make the next generation of Muslims who are being born in the UK feel like I am a citizen of the UK before I even think about being my Muslim identity. When they're thinking about who they are and what group they belong to, Canadian or being part of Canada should come to their mind before they even think about Islam or being a Muslim. That's how you win this battle. We should study Albania and Iran and try to replicate what has been working in other countries.
Well, the first step is that those countries actually have to reassert and affirm that their values are good and worth preserving and believe in them and not apologize for them, which is going to be difficult because their own native population is struggling to I don't know, with a lack of meaning or moral meaning or something. So that's its own separate cultural project. Um,
Mm.
but what's so interesting is, go ahead.
No, just one other country. We are now seeing this work also with many Muslims in Israel. The
Mm.
a sense of the being Israeli identity is growing among Arabs in Israel. So that's another thing that we could follow and see what's happening there. But go on, sorry.
Well, this story caused me to go look into the demographics of Albania a little bit, anyways. And it was so interesting. So basically, a Pew study found in 2012, so this is long before this specific census that revealed this new Muslim minority, saying that so over 12 years ago, only 15% of the Muslim population considers religion to be an important factor in their lives, which was the lowest percentage in the world of countries with a significant Muslim population. Another survey conducted by Gallup showed that religion plays a role for 39% of Albanians and lists Albania as the 13th least religious country in the world. Also, random Albania W. Also in Albania, the majority of males are not circumcised. Big W for Albania. Great job, guys.
Wow.
Um, and now let's talk about the beliefs of the people that are still remaining Muslims. So this is from a Gallup poll from 2016 about the beliefs of Albanians. And remember, this is um for all Albanians, but we can extrapolate to think about how many of the Muslims in Albania fit into this category. Armin, listen to this.
Mm.
80% believe that there's a God. Only 40% believe in life after death. 57% of people believe that there is a soul. Only 40% believe in hell. And only 42% believe in heaven. Now, please explain why that is significant to people.
You cannot be a Muslim unless you believe in life after death. These are parts of the articles, like 7 articles of faith within Islam. If you don't believe in Qiyamah and life after death, you're not Muslim. This is so much in line with, these are similar to Iranian numbers, right? So a lot of the people who left Islam in Iran, they did not join other religions. They so that means 20%. So you're saying 80% believe in God. So they left Islam. They kept their belief in God. They didn't join other religions. So they are nuns. Basically, these are people with no religion, but they hold the belief in God. But 20% belief atheism, 20% lack of belief in God is huge, is very much in line with some of the most advanced countries in the world. Iran has also a 20% lack of belief in God, and also very similar numbers when it comes to lack of belief in the afterlife. So remember, that shows that majority of people believe in God, but they have no religion. They believe in no religion. From religion they only kept the God part. They don't believe in an afterlife. They don't believe in Christianity. They don't believe in Islam. So these are what we call nuns, right? 20% number is a very 20% atheism is a very, very high number, right? So the fact that both Iran and Albania have reached 20% atheism, you don't see these kind of numbers unless you are like a Western European country or like Canada or like something like that. And so also I think the United States has also reached close to 20%, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this is not just a country that Islam is a minority. This is a country that religion is a minority as a whole. So they have left Islam and not joined any other religion. The only part of religion that they hold is the belief in God. Yeah. You're muted, babe. You're muted.
Sorry. According to the census, only 4% declared themselves to be officially atheist. A solid 19.4% declared themselves to be a non-denominational believer. And then 10% gave no answer. And it's one thing that I did find interesting is that there was a 15% general decline in the population. And so part of this change might be driven by immigration patterns, which is interesting to consider because the population as a whole dropped by 15%.
Yes, yeah, but the percentages, if the population dropped, then the percentages changing is not because people with secular or atheistic minded are coming in. Maybe you're saying people with religious
Mhm.
minded left, yeah. But it does seem to be a drive. Let me actually make a clarification regarding what a lot of people don't understand, why I say 20% atheists when people 4% identify themselves as atheists, because this is similar to the Iranian numbers. In Iran, only 8% identify themselves as atheists, but I always report 20% are atheists. So when it comes to atheists, there are people who are atheists and people who self-ID as atheists, right? Based on the definition of atheism, if you lack belief in God, you're an atheist, whether you identify as an atheist or not. So when these polls are asking, are you an atheist? That percentage will give the number of people who are self-ID as an atheist, not all the people who are atheists. The question that says, do you believe in God? The people who say no, that gives you the actual number of the people who are atheists. So, for example, in Albania, 20% of people don't believe in God. That means there are 20% atheists, 4% self-ID as an atheist. In Iran, 20% of people don't believe in God. That's the actual percentage of atheists. 8% self-ID as an atheist. They call themselves atheists. So just wanted to make sure that we understand the difference.
Yeah, so kind
This
of
is good.
interesting
This is
happening in
good.
the yeah. And I just thought it was so funny because we always give Albania as example as like a secularized Muslim majority country, and now we can't do that
Mhm.
anymore. Because Albania
So
was
yeah, and
the
Kosovo
first
too.
and only ever officially state atheist country back under Soviet rule. It isn't
Yeah, that's the
anymore.
government. We have to, when
Yeah.
we're talking about countries, we have to talk about the government and the people separately. Yeah. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
only state atheist country, which we don't, by the way, Susanna, I don't want to put words in your mouth. But we here at Atheist Republic are against state atheism, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are secular. We believe in secularism, and believing in secularism means that the government does not hold a position. It does not endorse a religion and doesn't take a position against religion. The government just stands back and provides an environment where the best ideas could prosper, right? The government is responsible for creating a safe place where society could have the tools for itself for ideas to compete in a peaceful way and for the best ideas to survive and outcompete the other ideas. It itself needs to have a secular position. That means not take a position for or against any religions. So we are atheist activists, but because we're also secular activists, we do not support any state atheism. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yes.
So let's go to the super chats. Okay. Eric can give a super chat saying, fun fact, the number two executive in OpenAI, Ermira Morati, is an ex-Muslim Hindu with Albanian origin. Interesting.
Oh wow, that's a very good, yeah, information to have. Thank you.
So Dave gave a super chat and saying, aren't Albanians in Kosovo white Muslims? They were converted from Christianity under Ottoman occupation. Anyways, good for them. They abandoned Islam. Well, I mean, what the Balkans were put through under the Ottoman Empire is chilling to the bone. Uh if
Yes.
anyone
Isn't
I
that
was recently on vacation, randomly got sucked into a little bit of Balkan history, and I was like, holy fuck. No bueno. Um in this video
I
I was
mean,
watching was
isn't the
talking about how a lot of their cuisine evolved to have pork and wine in it because the Muslim troops would come in and basically commandeer like their feasts and stuff. So they'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we have to we cooked everything with pork and wine. I'm sorry, dude. You can't eat any of this. My bad. I'm sorry. um, and apparently littering became very normal because the Ottoman troops were in charge of kind of doing some groundskeeping and stuff. So they would throw all their trash into the street as a way to give an FU to the Ottomans. I don't know how true this is, but this is what I heard. Um, because it's
By the way,
a practice
this
called not or something. Um,
this is a good time to remind people that the word slave comes from Slavs from the Balkans. That this is, the fact that is when you say what Islam did to the Balkans, that's actually why we refer to slaves as slaves. It comes from Slavs
mhm,
because of Islam
mhm,
taking slaves from the Balkans.
yeah. Um, okay, so and Dolly is here. Hi, Dolly. Dolly is one of our
Yeah.
amazing AR team members. Um, and reminding everyone to like the stream. We have almost 830 people watching us right now. A lot of them are on Twitter. So if you're watching us on Twitter right now, you have to come over and join us on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. We put out a lot of other videos that don't get on Twitter. And make sure to like and support the
Keep
channel.
that highlight. Keep that
Okay.
highlighted, please. Don't. Yeah, because Dolly, I just want you to pay attention to her profile pic, because Dolly is not just an activist online. Dolly is an activist on the ground, doing the hard work in Georgia, fighting against Russian intervention in Georgia, going into the streets, joining the protests, fighting for liberal values on the ground. Thank you for your service, Dolly. Thank you for protecting Europe. Dolly is protecting Europe from Russian values, illiberal values coming from Russia to Europe. So when it comes to defending European countries, we here are just sitting and talking about this while Dolly is joining protests on the ground. So thank you so much, Dolly, for your service. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, Dolly's amazing. We also got a new member, Lot. Thank you for joining Satan's Minions. Kurt is also saying hit like so we don't get yelled at. That's a good reminder. And Shami gave a super sticker. Thank you for the super chat, Shami. Okay, we got a few more super chats. So Sid Day was saying eradication of belief in God is impossible. As long as society is secular, people are mostly following cultural practices and no religious laws. I think it is a good thing. That should be our goal. I agree. I agree.
No,
I don't
no, wait,
expect
I don't.
everyone to be an atheist. That's unreasonable.
Yeah, but that's not what we have to fight for. Eradication of Islam. Okay, the fact that we're not going to get there doesn't mean that we shouldn't be aiming for it. I don't know why people keep saying
The
that to me.
belief
This
in
is quite
God.
obvious. Hmm?
It says
Yeah,
eradication of the
eradication.
belief in God.
Yeah, eradication for belief in God as well. All harmful beliefs. We should aim for eradication of harmful belief, even if we can't get there. Right? There's a saying, they say, aim for the stars, land on the moon. Okay, your goal should be eradication of everything that is nonsensical, including belief in God, including all religions. The fact that we're not going to get there is not an argument for us not trying. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into this whole conversation with you because we've had it before and there's some specifics we could get into. GJ gave a super chat saying the Netherlands coined a term for nuns who still believe in some kind of divinity in the universe as somethingists or Letzstein, Letzism. It has a Letzism Wikipedia article, not by me, by the way. Yeah, this is super common, and this is common in America. So the nuns in America, as in if you're checking off multiple choice box, what is your religion? And the last choice is none. The nuns are actually the fastest growing religious group in America. And they're not necessarily atheist. They are probably have kind of a quasi spiritual belief, and this is really really common.
Or deist. Many
Yeah.
of them are deists.
Sid Dave gave a super chat saying Slavs were sold as slaves by Kievan Russians and Vikings. So basically, whites selling other whites as slaves, just like the African slave trade. Yep. I
Hmm.
mean, the
Interesting.
existence of slavery is not anything special in human history. It's the absence of slavery that's more
Not
noteworthy.
Yes, that's a special part. And that's a unique time and place to live in. This is
Hmm.
very, many of you have no idea how unique it is to live at a time and places. Again, I know there's still slavery, a lot of slavery in the world. That's why I say time and place. The fact that you live in a time and place that there's no slavery where you are at, that's very unique. That's very special. This was a fundamental part of human experience, human society, to have slavery.
Kelvin gave a super chat saying Aunt Susie is gorgeous today. Oh, well, thank you.
Oh.
Um, Sid Dave gave a super chat saying in Poland they have a celebration called La Joknik, where they celebrate the defeat of the Mongols and a Polish man dresses up like a Mongol chief.
Okay.
I gotta go see a photo of this. But that's the end of our show today. So thank you everyone for joining. Make sure to tune in next week because I already have some juicy stories picked out because they keep on coming through. And make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave a comment, tell us what your favorite segment was, and make sure to tune in next week when I join for the news show. And throughout the week, Armin is always doing live streams and really fun, interesting stuff. So if you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. We're a
Yes.
fast growing channel. You got to get on board.
Dolly is saying she's always gorgeous. So Dolly
Oh.
was responding to that person. And long live, Amir saying long live the Atheist Republic. Well, thank you, sir. Guys, also beyond liking and also leaving a comment after the show is over and making sure you're subscribed to Atheist Republic on YouTube and hitting the bell notification, that's important. Subscribing is not enough because if you subscribe, YouTube, when we go live, YouTube will not tell you. If you hit the bell notification, then when we go live, YouTube will maybe tell you sometimes, right? It's more likely that YouTube will tell you. But beyond all of that, there's another free way that you could support our channel is by going around and telling your friends and your enemies to come subscribe to Atheist Republic on YouTube. It's very helpful. I've done some studies, done some investigation. Word of mouth is how channels grow. So you could be part of that word of mouth. So please go tell people, everybody, and tell them, unless it's not safe for you. If you live in an Islamic country where you go telling somebody that, hey, go subscribe to this atheist channel, might get you in trouble, then please don't recommend us. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.